Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Bob Clark, the Executive Director of CINEKYD Enterprises, and I'm pleased to welcome you to CINEKYD Television Theater. This evening, we have a really special show. For the past few weeks, we've provided you with some very interesting and some very creative television entertainment. This week, we'll be starting a series of year-long segments, parts of these programs that we hope that you'll enjoy. To begin with, I'd like to introduce a young man who has become a regular on CINEKYD Television Theater. His name is David Trachtenberg. The series that Dave writes, produces, and hosts is entitled When I Grow Up. Here then, with our first guest of the new season, Mr. Jim Coyne, is our own Dave Trachtenberg.
Hi, this is David Trachtenberg for When I Grow Up. This week we're going to be interviewing Jim Coyne. Start out, Mr. Coyne, where were you born?
Well, I was born in Farmville, Virginia in 1946, but only a few weeks after I was born I had moved up to the Philadelphia area. My parents were from Philadelphia area, and it was really very unusual that I just happened to be born prematurely in Virginia. But I spent most of my youth from the age of 2 until the time I got married in Abington. I don't know how familiar you are with it, the Abington area, but if you know where the Sears Roebuck is on York Road, I grew up right across the street on Wheatsheaf Lane next to the Highland Inn, if you know where that is. And my parents still live there. In fact, my parents watch your show from time to time on their cable vision, so I ought to put in a special word for them.
As a kid, was being a congressman your ambition?
Well, public service was an ambition, but I didn't really target any specific office. As a young boy, I spent a lot of time at Abington High School and at the junior high school in debating, and I found that developing debate skills was an important part, communication, these were things that were important to me, but I was also very much interested in journalism. I spent a great deal of time when I was in college with the college newspaper, and then I went to work in journalism as well while I was in college outside of the university where I was attending.
Do you think you did well in school?
Well, I was very fortunate. I was one of the top students at Abington, and I really enjoyed it. It was an excellent education. In fact, I remember very well the times I spent at Abington High, at Huntington Junior High, at Highland Elementary School, all right in the area there. And I enjoyed school a lot. I was a hardworking student, and I spent a lot of time with my studies.
What was your favorite subject?
Well, back then I think mathematics and history were my favorite subjects. I had good teachers in both areas especially, and I did very, very well in mathematics, and I also seemed to fare pretty well in history. In fact, the history teacher that I had went on to become the principal at Abington High School, and I still see him from time to time. But I should also put in a plug for Latin. I really enjoyed the classical challenge of studying Latin. I spent 4 years learning Latin at Abington, and it was a tremendous part of my education.
What got you interested into politics?
Well, it was mostly after I got married and started raising a family of my own. I wanted to get involved in my local community, to do what I could to make sure that the community where I was raising my family and the schools and so forth were the best that they possibly could. So I decided to run for township supervisor in the area where I live, which is over in Washington's Crossing.
When was that?
When was that?
Yeah.
That was in 1979 when I first decided to do that.
How long have you been in politics for right
only
now?
about 3 years now. I'm principally not a quote politician. I've spent most of my time in business, in the small business, and in engineering and in teaching. I've taught at the University of Pennsylvania.
What kind of training is needed to be a congressman or in politics?
I think the best training for people who want to become a congressman or represent their neighbors in government is to experience their community. experience the business side of their community, experience the government side of a local community, and experience the problems of a homeowner and a family person. The more experiences people have, whether it's in a small company or in teaching or whatever, the better qualified I think they are to empathize with the problems of their neighbors.
How long have you been a congressman now?
Well, I guess it will be 2 years this November.
It's not too long away. What are some of the jobs you have to do in the average day and along the way as a congressman?
Well, the principal job you do is to try to help your constituents with problems in the federal government. The federal government is hundreds and hundreds of different agencies, and of course each congressman has about 500,000 constituents, people who live in his congressional district. My district includes all of Bucks County and the eastern portion of Montgomery County, so anybody that lives in that area that wants to have some sort of help in dealing with some part of the federal government, whether it's the Department of Defense or Agriculture or the IRS or Social Security or the Veterans Administration, they can call their congressman and I can try to help them. And so most of my time is spending talking with my constituents and trying to get some action out of the federal government. Now, for example, just a few weeks ago we had a big flood here in parts of Bucks County and Montgomery County. You're probably familiar with that, tremendous flooding. And so even before the flood had finished, we called the Small Business Administration and the flood insurance, and we got the federal bureaus that were responsible for assisting a community during the flood to come to Pennsylvania and set up offices to get to work. And within just a matter of a few hours, we had federal loan assistance available to help in the community.
Mm-hmm. What major accomplishments have you made as a congressman, and what do you think you'd like to do in the future, achieve in the future?
Well, I think the most important thing that we're trying to do in Washington, the thing that I'm proudest of, is trying to get government to become more business-like. I think a lot of people have looked at the federal government as a very impersonal and ineffective bureaucracy, and I think having somebody with my background in business, my expertise in these different areas has helped me to make government work better for the people of Bucks County and Montgomery County. But of course in the legislative area I'm also especially proud of the effort that we've made to bring interest rates down and to try to help people find lower cost mortgages, housing subsidies and so forth that are going to help, I think, the people here that want to raise a family and get started. And of course one other thing that I'm very proud of is that I helped form a group in Washington called Congressmen Against Reductions in Education. This is something you might be interested in, which was a group of 20 congressmen that went to the president and said we've got to make sure that we don't cut the assistance for college loan programs and other areas that some people wanted to cut in Washington. And we were successful in getting the administration to change its course on those loan reduction cuts, which was a very, very positive step, something that I'm very, very pleased we were able to do.
What do you think you're going to do in the future? Yeah.
Well, I think it's going to continue to be a combination of public service and working with my neighbors and fellow Pennsylvanians. I'm very concerned about trying to get the economy going again, trying to get unemployment reduced and bringing interest rates and inflation down. And I think whatever I do is going to be a combination of helping the public sector and the private sector work better in the years ahead.
What are the best and worst parts of politics?
Well, I think the worst part is pretty easy for most congressmen. I think if you asked, there are 435 congressmen, and if you asked them that question, almost all of them would say that the worst part is that the demands of the job are so time-consuming that you don't get to spend time with your family as much as you would like. It's not unusual for me to go to Washington at 6 o'clock on a Monday morning and not get home until 11 o'clock Friday night. And then even during the weekend, when I maintain office hours in many of my offices, to work straight through the weekend, and you don't get a chance to help your family work as successfully as you would like. Now, that's you try to compromise, but at the same time you try to compensate to spend more time whenever the opportunities arise with your family. And of course, I have 3 small children: a 5-year-old son, Sandy, a 3-year-old or almost 3-year-old little girl, Katie, and a little boy who's only 2 months old named Michael. And if I could ask for anything, it would be to be able to spend more time with them. Of course, the best part of the job, I think, is the sense of satisfaction that comes from helping people. I suppose in my first term in Congress, we've assisted more than 3,000 constituents with some problem or another. And you know what it's like when you get to help somebody, whether it's a fellow classmate or a relative or just a neighbor. You get a really warm sense of satisfaction from doing that. Other parts of the job are exciting, of course, meeting the people that you get to meet. This past weekend I was in Toronto as one of the administration's appointments to the World Bank meeting, an International Monetary Fund meeting, to get to meet the major leaders from around the world, people that, of course, you normally only read about in magazines. It was an exciting point. Of course, I took my family along on the trip, and they all got to meet some of the national and international leaders as well. So that was a great thrill for us.
Well, getting off the subject of politics, where do you live now?
Well, my family and I live over in Washington's Crossing. Well, really, it's halfway between Washington's Crossing and Newtown, in the very eastern edge of Bucks County along the Delaware River. It's only about 5 miles from here.
What are some of the things you like to do with your kids?
Well, in fact, my 5-year-old, we've spent most of the last month or so learning for him to ride a two-wheeler, and helping him learn to ride a two-wheeler was a lot of fun. And he's I think for a 5-year-old, he's doing pretty well. He starts school tomorrow, kindergarten, and it's really exciting to try to help a son or a daughter grow and learn the things that are in our society today. And there's so much going on, so many opportunities now, whether it's through communication advances or computers or the capability to travel. These are the things that make me happiest, when we can spend some time traveling or discussing or teaching one another.
Well, thank you very much for joining me and joining CINEKYD. And we thank you for watching When I Grow Up. This is Dave Trachtenberg saying good night.
Thank you, Dave, and our thanks to Mr. Coyne for being the first guest on this year's When I Grow Up series. Now, ladies and gentlemen, and boys and girls, we are going to present a series, a part of CINEKYD Television Theater that we first broadcast last year. Unquestionably, it generated the largest response of anything we had ever put out over cable. And so, with color, new interiors, and a variety of special effects, we bring you, for the second year in a row, a series of stories about a kindly old gentleman, 3 tiny helpers, his wild and crazy nephew, and a variety of strange puppets and mannequins. We take you now to a place not found on every map, to the home, one and only, Uncle Flywheel's workshop.
Hello! Welcome to Uncle Flywheel's workshop. My name is Jimbo. Since I'm the oldest of the tiny helpers, I'll introduce the others. This is Enrico. Why don't I get to speak for myself? Because I'm the oldest. And this is Nellie. Hello, I can sing and dance. Not now, Nellie. But not now. And we all live here at Uncle Flywheel's workshop with Nellie, Enrico, and me. We also live here with our puppet, Androcles. And he's in the shop being repaired. Put his hands in the floor. No, don't do that. No. Girls are no fun. We also live here with Uncle Flywheel's nephew. He's in the hospital. He's sick. His name is Stiller. He stinks. Does not. Does too. You wouldn't say that if Uncle Flywheel were here. Yeah, but he still stinks. Now knock it off. The people in the hospital say we're too young to go in anyway. Now that stinks. At least we agree on something. Well, I guess you want to meet the guy in charge. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, here comes Uncle Flywheel!
Thank you, Tiny Helpers.
I'm gonna sing and dance.
Nellie, dear, why don't you wait a little while, okay? I've got a surprise for you.
A surprise? What?
Well, since Stuart is sick and can't be here with us, we're going to call him on the phone. He's got a phone right by his bed, and we'll see if he's awake. Hello, Stuart.
Hi, Uncle Flywheel.
How are you feeling?
I'm hungry.
You're always hungry, Stuart.
When are you going to come and visit me?
I'll be there in about an hour. Is there anything I can bring you?
I need more comic books.
More comic books, all right.
Here, let me talk. Hi, Stuart.
Hi, Enrico.
Is it fun in the hospital?
Well, it's okay, I guess.
Oh. Here, come, please. Hi, Stuart. No, since you haven't been here, I've been in charge.
Only until I get back.
We'll see. Here's Nellie. Hello, Stuart.
Hello, Nellie.
When you get back, I'm gonna make you a whole batch of cookies.
That's okay, Nellie. Really, you don't have to do...
But they're gonna have chocolate chips with chocolate fudge, and they're gonna have sugar and
Nellie,
honey.
dear, Nellie. Here, why don't you let me talk to Stuart? I'll be there in about an hour, all right, Stuart?
Okay.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye, Stuart!
Why don't we have a seat over here, Tiny Helpers? Now, since this is our first episode, I thought you'd like to know what we'd be doing this year. Since Stuart isn't feeling well and he's in the hospital, we'll be visiting with him a little bit each week like we did here today.
I don't want to be in a hospital. Me neither.
Well, I don't think anybody wants to be in the hospital. But it's nice to know that if you do get sick, there's some place that you can go where people can help you to feel better.
I don't think anybody's going to make Stuart get better. Sorry.
Yeah. We're also going to have some special guests. And you're going to learn some new games.
And I'm going to sing and dance. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Rally, rally, rally.
Nellie,
Yeah.
why don't you wait till I'm finished talking? Okay. Like I said, some special guests and some new games. And I made up a whole bunch of new puppets.
Yeah, and his name is...
We'll keep that one a secret, won't we, Jimbo? Okay. Now, I did promise Stuart that I was going to come and visit him. So, until next week, remember our motto. Each one, reach one. Good night. Why don't you help me load up the car with comic books?
Be back in a minute. Don't worry, Andy, please. We'll come back and get you. We promise. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Row, row, row your
Good
boat
night.
gently down the stream.
If viewers, as part of a television audience, enjoy watching programs, we have found, as years have progressed, both at the CINEKYD studios and certainly in commercial networks all over the world, that the American public has become more aware of and developed a greater interest in how movies and TV shows are made. For that reason, we always include, as a part of CINEKYD Television Theater, a special segment where we turn the cameras around and allow you, the members of our TV audience, an opportunity to see how shows are produced. But what makes this even more special is the fact that, unlike the professionals, our technicians and technologists, our camera people and makeup artists, are children, young people. And I suppose there is nothing more impressive than to see a youngster produce something on the level of CINEKYD Television Theater. And so, without further ado, as provided by the members of our mobile video crew, a look behind the scenes.
With me is Darren Coley. He is Commander Fred. Is that not correct? That's correct. And this is for CINEKYD Radio Playhouse? That is also true. Do you enjoy your role? Yeah, I guess. Do you have to, characterize your voice in any fashion for this role? Yeah, sort of a superhero type of voice.
To places far beyond and closer than your backyard. To other dimensions and other galaxies. Through black holes and over planets and into the deepest reaches of understanding. So buckle on your rocket wristwatch and fire up your solar-powered sunglasses. And fasten yourselves tight into your galactic galoshes. And brace yourselves for an adventure in deep space. Another journey into Commander Fred's universe.
Are there a lot of people in the crypt?
Not really. I take 3 characters and 1 minor and 2 more or less major characters. So there's not enough for everyone to have a single part, but there's a fair amount.
You said you have 3 parts. Do you have to change your voice for the 3 different parts?
Yeah, I have the minor part. I use just my average voice, but I have for Commander Fred Universe, I use a superhero voice, and then I do the character of Santor, who's sort of an alien being, and I give him sort of a British accent.
Are you sure this is the best way? Things were going rather well, I thought.
Perhaps, but not well enough.
But we've agreed before, it must be done. Take her when the lights are out. You're sure? I'm sure. All right, I'll have everyone in position. They've all been briefed. They know what to do.
Voices and sounds.
You also had another one where you held your nose.
Oh yeah, that's supposed to be Commander Fred, but he's crazy, and his crew, Corporal BX11, is supposed to be Commander Fred holding his nose. So it's really the same character, but holding his nose.
Have you ever been on any other crew besides Radio Talent?
Yeah, I've been on graphics and animation.
It's pretty funny.
Well, did you do any exciting projects for graphics?
Not really. Nah, I made a puppet. Almost made a puppet. I should put it that way. Never completed it.
Oh yes, the tour. Folks,
How long have you been involved in CINEKYD?
I think that's
this is, I guess, about 1.5 years now. Almost 2 years.
Is this your second track season?
Yes.
Okay, thanks a lot.
For this week's CINEKYD Bulletin Board, here's CINEKYD student Lorraine Hoffman.
Hello. CINEKYD's annual Fall Bazaar will be held Saturday, October 30th from 10 a.m. until 3:30 p.m. Come out and help support CINEKYD student programs and enjoy all the wonderful games, baked goods, and bargains. Movie night will be held at 7:30, and the feature being shown will be Abbott and Costello Meets Frankenstein. Tickets will be $1.25 in advance and $1.50 at the door. For more information on any of CINEKYD's activities, contact us at 659-4696.
I want to thank you for being with us this evening, and I'd like to prepare you for next week. You know, we have designed our first special, I think every television station deserves the right to bring to you a creative experience like the one we've planned. It's called The Haunted Valley. It was produced entirely by our youngsters. It's sort of fitting, around Halloween that we enjoy a story like this. It deals with a children's camp and what happens when they discover that the site is actually haunted. It is a CINEKYD production, and it features none other than the world-famous author, lecturer, television personality, Audie Kent Thomas Jeffries. She will be in our story. I'd like to take this opportunity as well to welcome all of the viewers who are part of the growing CINEKYD cable system. And we're very, very happy to have all of you with us. We're also grateful to our friends at Comcast, at Telecable, Homeview, and Ultracom for making it possible for us to bring these programs into your home. Now, next week's show, that's going to be a 1-hour special. So, all I can suggest is that you check the cable guide for your particular cable network and make sure that if we start a half hour early or we run a half hour late, that you're able to see the entire Haunted Valley. Until next week then, same time, same cable channel. This is Bob Clark. Good night and God bless.